one thing I try and always disclose to my authors or my potential authors at the beginning is the fact that I am a pretty intentional and editorial agent.
Welcome to Modern Publishing. I'm Victoria, author, editor, and the owner of Blue Pen, and today I'm on with Anjanette Barr. Anjanette is a literary agent at Dunham Literary. She's been in various branches of the writing and publishing world for over a decade, and she is now a literary agent, and she finds that as the perfect way to synthesize her interests and talents. She lives in Juneau, Alaska, and represents authors across age categories and most genres. I love that. Very well said. Very important point that I hope folks remember and take away from this. Mm-hmm. So when you're looking at signing a new author, mm-hmm. With all of this said, how important the relationship is, mm-hmm. how much of the decision-making process involves, your conversation with that author and them as a person, what you see in them, mm-hmm. opposed to the work on the page?
Yeah. The work has to come first. I won't sign an author just because I like them. Because I love friends, but I'm not, I can't, I don't think that most agents are ever, I think agents are book people, and I certainly am. And so I don't want to try and sell air. I'm not just going to be the salesperson who's, like, this person's amazing and talk them up when I know that I'm kind of deceiving an editor. I would not feel okay with that. And so the work really does have to come first. But there are a lot of works for me to choose from. There are a lot of great books out there that look really interesting that I can see on the shelves that I would love to read or reread. And if the author seems like they would not be someone that I could work with for whatever reason, whether it's like a character, issue on their end, or just we don't see eye to eye on something really big that involves the book, then I may have to decide, is it worth me investing in that relationship when it probably will always be difficult and very time consuming? So to make that more practical, I'm not reading a bio thinking, I don't like that baseball team. Never mind. It's not something like that. It's something like, you sent me your manuscript. I was that interested in the manuscript, but when I got into the book and I read your bio, you were constantly disrespectful in your speech toward women, toward me, toward something. And I just felt like the whole time our relationship would be contentious because of that. Then I would probably decline, even if the book was great, honestly, because at the end of the day, we are working with people. We're not just selling books, and my time is valuable and my boundaries are important. So there's lots of instances where I have chosen not to read further, or I have chosen to, give a polite no because of the author, rather than the manuscript. But, it's not a talent show it's not a personality contest. I'm not looking for, the funniest, most bubbly something. I don't have this ideal author in my mind as far as personality goes. It has much more to do with, are they a good team member? Are they willing to hear my critiques and suggestions, and whether or not they take my advice, at least consider it. Or are they very defensive all the time? And could just be constantly, it would be disappointing to feel like I just had to stop giving advice because they were never going to receive it well. Because it would limit my ability to help them. Or if it feels like they, again, disrespect is just one of those things that it can take lots of forms. But if I just feel like the whole time I was working with an author, I it would have negative ramifications for me and my mental health and my, my ability to work, then I'm not probably going to invest my time in that author. And, that's not the majority of authors either. Just like editors and agents, the majority of authors are awesome book people. So, I've done lots of pitches in person and virtually for conferences, and I have yet to have any awkward interviews where, there was just a lot of bad vibes or they were very, against receiving what I had to say or had a big attitude. We do get emails that, are concerning sometimes from disgruntled authors, but in person, all of my interactions with authors have been wonderful. So it is not something that comes into play regularly, but it is something that I think all agents take into consideration.
I feel like one of the takeaways there is probably that if you're the author who is worried about whether an agent is going to like you, you're probably not going to be the issue.
Exactly. Absolutely not. I mean, we can, all kinds of personalities can work well together, and we don't have to be best friends or have everything in common to work well together. That's not really what successful, coworkers need. It is just, are you concerned about being considerate? Do you think about, am I a good person to work with? If you think about it, you probably are. Yeah.
So, we've talked about you working remotely, and that's obviously one aspect of you kind of moving in a different direction than the industry normally goes or has gone in the past. As far as your work as an agent, what do you do differently than other agents or than would traditionally be done?
Yeah. One thing I try and always disclose to my authors or my potential authors at the beginning is the fact that I am a pretty intentional and editorial agent. So I really do want to give my authors the very best chance of success. And I think that there are different models, and this isn't necessarily something that has changed wholesale in publishing, and I think it's been gradual. But I know lots of us editors or agents now who really do want to have a long-term relationship with authors that is more collaborative. And that doesn't mean we're writing anything for them. But rather than the method of, I'll take a book on, or take an author on project by project, we'll see how this one goes, we'll, pull it all together as fast as we can, and we'll throw it all at the wall and see what sticks and hope that someone picks it up, and then we'll move on real fast to contracts, and, we'll, it's just about churning out these contracts and these deals, and just, it's not necessarily all about money, but it's like efficiency and how to get the best return on investment. I think a lot of agents now, but I think younger agents too, and I'm not really counting myself among the young agents because I'm turning 40 this year, but I'm a new agent. So among those of us who are kind of new, I see a lot more concern about who's represented in publishing, what kind of books are being put out there. Do they really meet a need, or are they just more literature? Because there's a lot of literature in the world, Is it, I just see a lot more intention. And for me personally, I feel most fulfilled by getting books from authors who I believe in, for, whether other people would believe in them or not. It's not all people that are kind of underrepresented, but books that I think have something of value to offer the world, and authors that I think have some longevity in their career too. And I want that relationship to be strong throughout. And I want it to be, that slows the process down a little bit. And honestly, it's a privilege to be able to be that kind of an agent, because I have a spouse who works full time. So I don't have to, earn our entire income. Otherwise, I probably couldn't work at the slow, intentional pace that I am working at. But what I'm seeing is other agents who do need that income are fighting for this change too. So I do see that as a change overall of more connection, more intention, and a lot of agents who want to see, and editors for that matter, who want to see this industry kind of be less about the conveyor belt and just churning things out and making money, and more about literature really being a force in the world. And that is something that I think is very true for me, is not that every story has to have a message or every book has to be more than entertainment, because entertainment has value. But that the relationships are really strong and that people are respected, and just that people feel more heard in the industry, including authors, because I think a lot of us are not happy with the status quo anymore of people not getting paid what they're worth, and having to do a lot of kind of demeaning work or being under-recognized for their capabilities across the board. So I do think for me, I have chosen that, especially because I have the privilege of being able to be slow and intentional, that's the only way for me to do this, is to be really just to really do my very best and not be focused solely on the output and the speed of the output and how much money it all makes. So in other words, I'm happy to work with small publishers who are going to do a really good job with those books and get them to their audiences. And I'm happy to work with authors who maybe don't have a huge social media platform already. I'm happy to work with people that normally wouldn't have gotten the attention of the publishing industry, and who maybe don't have New York connections, things like that. So, and it's not just me. I am seeing that change.
I'll say first, as an author whose agent is very editorial, I am very appreciative of that. It's a wonderful thing to have someone in your corner. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I appreciate that. I'm sure your authors appreciate that.
So far, they all say they do. So hopefully it'll continue to be a positive thing. I think it also does help with the good feelings between agents and editors, because the editor can automatically tell that you, as the agent, really worked for this. You're not just trying to make a quick sale.
Thanks to our viewers for hanging out with us today. I hope this conversation has inspired you to blaze your own trail in the publishing industry. Remember, the full episodes are available as podcasts. Just search for Modern Publishing wherever you get your podcasts. And you can head over to bluepinbooks.com/modernpublishing to learn more. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up and leave a comment. And that's it for now. I'll see y'all next time.